Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Annalyn Panganiban, and I'm excited to present to you our business, Semi-Express Lube, along with our CEO, Brian Deck, and our marketer, Leah Watkins. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our judges, as well as everyone else, for being here today. For this afternoon's schedule, we will show our presentation, followed by a short Q&A session. We will discuss with you who we are and what we do, our market opportunity, our competition, our organization and operation factors, the company's financial understanding, and our recognition of the risks and opportunities. I will now let Leah let you know a little bit about us and the business we have created.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm going to start off with an example. So Bison Transport has 1,400 semi-trucks in their fleet for long-haul trucking. And on average, a semi-truck requires an oil change once a month if they're on a long-haul route. 1,400 times once a month is a lot of oil changes for one company to be responsible for. They also have a ton of major repairs that need to be fixed ASAP. So when a truck comes in needing an oil change, often they're put to the side, we'll get at you later. But now the company is losing money because of truck downtime. So Semi-Express Lube fixes that problem. So what we're offering is a drive-through oil change service. Our first location of our startup is going to be in Centerport because that's the hub of the trucking center in Winnipeg. Trucks, instead of waiting an X amount of days to get back on the road, they're going to be on the road within 2 hours. That's very important for our value proposition. So this is an example of what the shop's going to look like. It's going to have 3 service bays, so we have ultimate capacity. We're going to have a main entrance, of course, with our administration and our offices. But we're also going to have a little bit of added value. We're going to have a lounging area for the truckers, which is, they love that kind of stuff. A lifestyle of a trucker is not glamorous. They rarely feel refreshed and revitalized. So what we're going to be offering them is a place to relax while we're doing their oil change. They can watch TV. They can even take a shower. We're hopefully going to have laundry facilities, the whole 9 yards. And we're also going to be located, hopefully, around a food area like Tim Hortons. So if they need to leave the premises to get a bite to eat, they can do that as well. And we will have enough space, parking lot space, for us to park the truck if they have left and they haven't returned yet. So for our market opportunity, we are business to business. We have 2 main areas of our target market. We have owner-operators of trucks. They usually own, it's just themselves. They contract themselves out. And large trucking transport outfits. We did conduct a very valuable market research analysis survey, and our results are very clear. A, our target market loves the idea. A lot of them said, you know what, I would love to do this, I would love to try it. And 2, they hated that they didn't think of it themselves, which is good for us. So from our survey, we chose to target the decision makers of the company because truckers, yes, we want them to talk about us and see us on the road and on their routes, but they don't have responsibility of choosing where they get their oil changes. So companies that we chose from, such as Arnold Bros, we went to the Manitoba Trucking Association. We know their needs, their wants, just from talking to guys there. And Kenworth Trucking, which is actually where Brian Deck works. So one of the most valuable questions on our survey was, what is most important to you? Is it the price of an oil change? Is it minimizing the downtime of your truck? Or is it the location of your service? You can see very clearly that 65% of our target market we surveyed, all they care about is downtime. Downtime means no money, no profit. So there you go. Our competitive advantage, yes, we are the only kind in Winnipeg. Well, we will be the only kind in Winnipeg. Our location, again, is a great advantage. It's the hub. It's not out of the way. It's perfect. We also have found that 10 million trucks pass through Winnipeg each year. That's a huge demographic that we can aim for. We did a competition analysis. Yes, technically, we do have direct competitors. In-house mechanics, once again, at those big cup trucking outfits. But once again, we will be telling them, hey, we're taking this redundant task off of your hands. It's going to be done accurately and efficiently, and it's going to save you money. Companies love to save money. There are a couple companies like this. There's one in Ontario and there's one in Calgary. So we do eventually plan to be national. So once they start with us in Winnipeg, it'll be boom, boom, boom along all of Canada along their routes. We do have indirect competitors: Peterbilt, Freightliner, Max Sales, and Connection Truck Center. The commonality between all of these competitors, indirect and direct, they're all super busy. They don't have time to do this, but oil changes are so important. So yeah. And now Brian will talk about our operating factors and finances.
Okay, so my name is Brian. Been in the industry for quite some time now. I'm a truck driver. I'm working as a mechanic right now, so I understand a little bit about what these guys are looking for. I also know the value of quality work, right? So with that in mind, I want all my mechanics to be at least level 1 certified, so that when these trucks roll out of the bays, they're going to have the filters on nice and tight. Things are going to be squeaky clean. We have, for our operations, we're going to have a setup where the mechanics are going to go through and they're going to have a checklist. Every time they hit a check, every time they do something, they have to check off that they've done it right. Our floor manager is going to come through and he's going to make sure, double check, so that we get a nice, efficient, just a process running through, and obviously build a great name for ourselves, right? Because we're trying to go, we'd like to get big, right? We want to go right across Canada. The organization, the view that we have for the organization is to go right across North America. That's where we can be the most efficient for our companies, right? If you have a truck, like I'm going to give you an example, you have a truck coming from Vancouver, we'll use Bison Transport, and it's coming up to its 20,000 interval for an oil change, right? And we got one sitting in Swift. We have a shop in Swift Current. They just pull in, maybe the guy, their transportation manager is going to get in contact with the driver, say, listen, go take a break, bring it into Semi-Express Lube, get your oil changed, and get some hours back and get back on the road, get it back to Winnipeg, boom, no downtime, and they're back out on the road, right? So that's kind of the idea. We're going to use Oil Mart as our main supplier. Oil Mart is a local business. We love the idea of using local business, right? As we grow, we would love to bring a company with us, and let's make Manitoba a nice, flourishing province. Obviously, we're going to use Cummins. The reason we're using Cummins is because they are actually the retailer of FleetGuard right now. FleetGuard is an oil filter supplier, but most importantly, they have a versatile oil filter. Basically, they have designs of different oil filters to fit different engines. So that's the idea, is to use one company really and have one supplier for oil filters and oil. So the operating factors, I'm going to be, CEO, controller. Lynn is going to be a controller. Leah is going to be my marketing director. If and when I do this company, I'm definitely going to bring these girls with me. They worked super hard, crazy workers. It was awesome. I'm going to have a circuit of mechanics and floor managers, obviously, to look over them to ensure this process works out good. Financial understanding. We have to purchase some land. We're going to have to purchase some building. We have other expenses, obviously startup costs for filters, oil, things like this, getting everything ready, whatever. But we're looking into different things. We're almost considering now leasing land just because of the actual expenses of trying to do it all ourselves. Let's go to the next slide. Funding resources. We are looking for capital investors. We will have an Aboriginal grant through Leah and a mortgage of $717,000 if we choose to go that route. We're really on the fence about it right now. So, and I guess I'll pass it off to Lynn.
So in year 1, our projected revenues is around $1.2 million at $450 per job. With advertising and word of mouth, we expect revenues to gradually increase. Our max capacity for servicing is approximately 24 trucks a day, with the exception of Sundays, where we're only open from 10 to 6, so we'd only be able to serve 12 trucks per day. Our expenses for year one are expected to be around $760,000, consisting of mainly wages and salaries. That's our biggest expense. Filters, oils, stuff like that. Our net income for year one will be around $260,000. As our business becomes more viable, we expect our revenues to grow by 15 to 16%. And with expenses remaining relatively stable, we project profits of $400,000 in year two and $556,000 in year three. One of our more interesting expenses is a $10 donation per service to Trees Winnipeg. Unfortunately, the business we have chosen to get involved with does have a negative impact on our carbon levels in our community. We hope that with these donations, it'll help offset some of that damage. Also, with our increased cash flows, we are planning to put money aside to start investing into the future. In year two, we'll be putting $100,000 away, and in year three, we'll be putting $200,000 away. With our break-even analysis, our fixed expenses are around $618,000 with a contribution margin of around $369,000. This makes our break-even point around 1,677 jobs per year or 140 jobs per month. With 10 million trucks coming through Manitoba every year, I don't think that's going to be a problem for us. So for some of the risks and opportunities, our biggest risk the business faces is the startup cost of $1 million. Although deemed successful, it is a lot of money to acquire up front. If the market doesn't respond in the way that we have perceived, then we have a major financial risk above our head. There's also the threat that people aren't creatures of change, and they may prefer to stay with their current service provider, which is either their in-house mechanic or a shop that they currently frequent. But there are several opportunities that come up with putting this business on the market. Our location is probably one of our biggest ones because it creates a large impression rate, and by being in the center of attention, in Centerport, this is the trucking hub of Manitoba. The convenience of this location ties a lot to our value proposition. Another opportunity is the elimination of truck downtime. Businesses are always focused on productivity and profitability. When we can tell them that we can help them increase both of these points, it will not be difficult to get them on board with us. So we have analyzed both the risks and opportunities that come with starting this business, and we've decided that the opportunities do outweigh the risks. We consider this to potentially be a very successful business because of the major opportunities we have and the response we've received from our target market as well. At this point, this concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we're open to questions.
Okay, question one, why only 12 a day?
That would be on Sundays because we're only open 10 to 6 on Sundays, and so with the 3 bays and being able to service a truck every 2 hours, that's about 12 in that day.
What are your hours Monday to Saturday?
6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Why? Does the logistics stop at 10?
No, it's something we considered. It's when we were talking about, I think what we started with was 5 trucks a day, and then we stagger it. We keep going up, right? I think it's 5, 7, and we're just kind of trying to be realistic in the beginning. We're unless this thing is across North America, the big companies, I think, would be a little more hesitant to use this. Okay, but I think once we start growing, then they'll use us because it's just so much more efficient, right? So right now we're going to be depending on the owner-operators. We have to prove this works, right? So,
but that's my point. Is
right.
If you're not open, I'm just going to roll past.
Yeah, a 24-hour service is that's what you're getting at, right? Yeah, I do agree. It's something that we're.
So you mentioned Road King as a competitor. Do they do oil changes?
Yes, they're in Calgary, Alberta, and from what I've heard, it's doing very well.
Are they 24-hour?
I don't know that actually. I don't know.
Do you know for certain that they're not planning on setting up a location here?
I do not know that.
Are you guys looking to basically contract with the Bisons and the Arnold Brothers to service X number of their
We'd love to, yeah.
trucks?
Yeah.
Like,
Fleet.
is that the idea?
The idea is, fleet deals, things like this, right? And like I said, across North America would be the best way because if you can catch a truck at any city they're in, there's no downtime, right? There's no downtime for the you're saving these trucks lives too. I mean, some of these trucks go over by 20,000 kilometers on an oil change. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's too much. You know, so you're saving life on trucks, you're saving time, you're saving, it's really, it's an efficient.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
So you've said that, you know, it's this, we're saving downtime. And I guess what I'd like to know specifically is how is this company uniquely minimizing downtime versus in-house mechanics and versus the competition?
Okay. At Kenworth, where I'm working right now, I'll just give you an example. We have trucks that roll in. The guy needs an oil change. He's an owner-operator. He just got back from the road. He has to go back out tomorrow night. But he needs an oil change, right? It's way past due. His truck's, you know, it's crying. And we say, man, we got a full row of trucks here. We got diffs we're dropping. We got a transmission to do. Like, we don't have room for your oil change. You know, like, really, it's not a moneymaker for them. For these big companies, it's not a moneymaker. Like Peterbilt and Freightliner, it's you know, they like to do the big projects, right? To dig in and make the money. So that's kind of where we're filling this void for them, so they can come into town and they don't need to make an appointment. They just drive in and drive out.
So their priority is not oil changes. Your priority is, so
My-
you're always going to have a spot open for them.
You bet. Yeah,
As long as it's not 12 done.
that's pretty good.
Open to consideration.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the keys then to your long-term performance or success is operational excellence. You need to be fast, efficient. You have to make sure
Right,
that
yep.
the people are performing the way that you want them to. You know, one misinstall and you've got a bad reputation that could end you, right?
Right.
So you know that you're a good mechanic and you're confident in yourself, but if you're going to grow, you're going to have less and less contact with people actually doing the work. How are you going to make sure that they do the work well and that they perform the way that you want to? Because there's other companies that are already established and you're going to have to compete against them.
That's a good question. It's you know, I think, you know, getting our hands dirty and really realizing what, like, I'm talking about a process where every move that a mechanic makes, he has to check off, right? And then the floor manager's going to come in behind him. And, you know, I think as you grow as a business, you're going to have to see what works and what doesn't. But I think as a start, I think that's a good idea, right? It's ensuring that my mechanics are double checking. We forget, right? Human beings, we forget things. You know, maybe he'll forget this or that, but if I have a check sheet stating that every Zerk fitting on that truck, he will remember, because it's, unless he doesn't read it, but then we have something else to talk about. We don't have a good employee, right? So.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why no food in this place?
That's an awesome question. When I was truck driving, yeah, cheeseburgers at 12 at night were awesome. But, like, you know, that's another thing that, like, it's all upselling. It's something we're looking into. Like, yeah, we didn't get to mention wipers, any top-ups, right,
No,
fluid.
but I have 2 hours of time now.
Yeah.
And you say I have a fantastic lounge,
It-
but I have to go across the street.
Yeah,
for
it would be
coffee.
awesome if we could get Tim Hortons involved in this and they could sit right in with us. It might work, you know, I don't know. It's another business proposition to look into, I guess. Yeah, definitely.
I'm
right?
going to just top up your question.
Yeah.
We have considered that, and it would be very ideal. But we had so much other things we had to worry about. And when you have food, you have to have people that are working that food. You have to have a food distribution license. You have to have safe food handling. So we would love to do it, and hopefully it'll happen, but we're just concerned on the bigger idea right now.
Maybe we'll have like granola bars.
Yeah.
That's a good answer, actually. So where are you going to come up with the money to actually create this facility? Do you have to do your own design?
Venture capitalists, I suppose. I guess the next move is to really take this business plan and make it more efficient. Maybe go to Elaine and get some help from Elaine. That's what I'm thinking. I really want to take this, and we're going to move with professionals that can help us out and take it from there. I think I answered your question.
Any other questions?
Good job.
Thanks.